The man who is swimming against the stream knows the strength of it. Eldath is the goddess of peace, of waterfalls, of lakes, springs, pools, of stillness, and of quiet glades. She is known as Mother Guardian of Groves, the goddess of shining waters, the green goddess, the quiet one, and among the Bedine people of the Anorak deserts, as Mother of the Waters. Her voice emanates from gentle waters, stirring tranquility to soothe the souls of weary seekers. Eldath appears as a 10-foot-tall woman of varied appearance, sometimes human, sometimes elven, either wild or sea elf, or sometimes a woodland dryad or a watery nereid. She is thin, graceful, beautiful, and appears ever so slightly translucent, casting morphing shadows behind her as if by sunlight cast through water. Her eyes are green, her feet bare, and though her thin flowing clothes cling to her form immodestly, she radiates more peace and tranquility than sensuality. As one of the deities who represent unspoiled nature, she serves Sylvanus the Tree Father beside Mieliki the Forest Queen, whom she considers her sister. And while the mistress of the forest is confident and cheerful, Eldath seems shy and reclusive by contrast, especially before the Tree Father, whom she finds particularly intimidating. Nonetheless, as the inquisitive nature of the river seeks a path to spread life, the forest follows close behind, and the two sisters were once inseparable, rising up to drive off those who harm the wilds. But within the frozen deserts of Anorak, where water is precious above gold, the native Bedine people tell of an elemental sun deity known as Attar the Merciless, who was so jealous of Eldath's beauty that she imprisoned the Mother of the Waters within the oasis of El Azad. However, it is the nature of water to adapt, and even if Eldath is thus contained, she finds ways always through trickling streams, through mist, or by rain, for her life-giving waters to be felt across the yearning face of Faerun. Eldath is a pacifist in the purest sense. Shy and enigmatic, she prefers to withdraw in the face of an attack and to gradually overwhelm obstacles through gentle force. Her determination to protect rivers, streams, and druids' groves is absolute, speaking to her unyielding perseverance against overcoming hardship. In addition to serving Sylvanus beside Mieliki, Eldath maintains close ties with other nature deities, such as Chontia the Earth Mother, Selune the Moon, and Lathander the Morning Lord. She has a complicated relationship with Tempus the God of War, for although their methods are diametrically opposed, the Lord of War maintains a standing order that if any of his followers attack a follower of Eldath or despoil one of her sacred places, they will be summarily denied a place in the afterlife. Finally, Malar, the bloodthirsty god of the hunt, will attack Eldath's domains whenever he is able, to which Eldath will simply withdraw and let him tire himself out, and then reclaiming what is hers once again. Eldath resides within the divine realm known as Aronia, on the second layer of the plane of Elysium. Her home is a pure spring, surrounded by oak trees and known as the True Grove. There her faithful take on animal traits in the afterlife, eventually becoming celestial beasts. Water blessed by the goddess is highly sought after for its curative properties, which heals disease and madness and will even regenerate lost limbs, as well as bringing a sense of calm upon the dying, allowing them to shed off their mortal coils in grace and in dignity. Eldath is a lesser deity, and her neutral good alignment reflects her quest for all beings to know comfort and happiness. Her clerics tend to adopt the nature, the peace, or the life domain, and they will turn and destroy undead. Her favoured weapon is the net, both to resolve combat peacefully and also to harvest the rich bounties of the rivers. Her holy time is different for each follower, and her divine casters will pray for spells at a set time each day, determined by each individual by deep reflection upon their own unique path through life. The followers of the Green Goddess are known as Eldathin, and their ranks include a great many pacifists and nature lovers, but also many seasoned adventurers who find no contradiction in the idea of fighting for peace. They act as coalition builders seeking to unite all people by their desire for a more peaceful life. They observe the subtle changes and migrations of plants, of animals, and the shifting paths of rivers, and report them to those who are most affected by the changing tides of nature. They build dams to irrigate inland areas. They construct fire breaks. They replant after bushfires, clear streams of litter, and negotiate with loggers to ensure a sustainable industry. Offerings to the goddess often take the form of weapons broken up and rendered unusable, or perhaps an item that was once fought over, now given up freely to ensure peace. Her prayers are usually delivered unarmed, but many practical folk choose to keep their weapons within reach, understanding the difference between good intentions and naivety. The main calendar event for the Eldathin faith is known as the Greening, taking place on green grass at the height of spring. It marks the only time that the disparate clergy gather in one place, and it follows the First Flow Festival, held sometime around the end of winter, on the first day when the ice and snow begins to melt and to flow into the rivers and the lakes. When they establish a new holy site, known as a fastness, groups of Eldathin will gather around a natural pool and will sing the chant of the fastness until an avatar of Eldath will appear to consecrate the site, after which the water will gain healing and regenerative properties for the next 10 days. Her adventuring clergy are known as free walkers, and around 1 in 10 of them are druids. Their favoured multi-class is the monk, as it allows them to eschew weapons while still retaining powerful defensive capabilities. Few free walkers choose to live in cities, but many will instead travel from place to place, visiting different fastnesses, studying the ecosystem, resolving conflicts, and offering their services to farmers as water dowsers. Their clerical vestments are green and blue, sometimes decorated with gems of the same hues. All will wear Eldath's holy symbol in the center of their chest, and their sleeves and their hems are distinctly cut to resemble rippling water. A select few half-elves, halflings, and fey creatures known as sirens are personally blessed by the goddess, and these are known as peacemen and peacewomen. They possess several spell-like abilities designed to confound attackers, including the ability to remove fear, to create zones of silence, to put assailants to sleep, and to summon water. They can also breathe underwater and walk on water freely, and a few are affected by a constant sanctuary spell effect. All peacemen and women are experts in a martial art that focuses on parrying and avoiding strikes. Apprentice clergy are known as underpriests, and up to 14 underpriests will live and study with a priest, who in turn answers to a senior priest, who reports to a grand priest, who oversees a whole region. The most esteemed clergy are known as exalted, and from their ranks are chosen the keeper of the fastness, who is the sole overseer of an individual holy site. Eldath worship is common among the religions of the Sword Coast, of Arm, Tethir, Anorak, the Vast, the Great Dale, the Vilhon Reach, and the Horde Lands. The headquarters of the Eldath Church is known as the Grove, located in the Druid stronghold of Cedarsproke in the Vilhon Reach, while another famous temple is known as the Misty Vale, within the Brynwood Forest in the Vast. The sacred oasis, where it is said that the goddess lies imprisoned, is known as Al-Azad, within the Anorak Desert. And finally, her most sacred site is Duskwood Dell, nestled within the Snakewood within Arm, where new apprentices are trained and spread throughout Faerun. In addition to maintaining a long-standing alliance with the Harpers due to free walkers ranking among their founding members, the goddess sponsors several formal religious orders. The Arbitrators of the Quiet One are a select group of peacemen and peacewomen who seek out conflicts to act as mediators, trying to achieve a peaceful resolution. The Disciples of the Yielding Way are an order of monks, sometimes known as the Brothers and the Sisters of the Open Palm. They guard sacred sites and dwellings of exalted priests, as well as acting as messengers and as scouts across the realms. Stillwaters are a controversial sect who seek absolute pacifism and tranquility, refusing in some cases even to defend themselves. And finally, not so much a holy order as an entire society influenced by Eldathan philosophy, the Ondonti are a peaceful tribe of orcs living in the wastelands north of the Moonsea, known as the Tortured Lands. They keep an oral tradition of legends known as the Way of Peace, telling of how they were brought to their homeland by a group known as the Founders, who taught them the ways of Eldath. In my world, the nation-state of Arm is irrigated by the Esmel flow, a number of rivers that feed into Lake Esmel before flowing out to sea. Fey creatures known as Nereids live in these waters, and each of their lives are inexorably linked to the path of these rivers. One such, the river Rimil, was a young spirit who played in waterfalls down Eldath's Mount within the Troll Mountains before making her way to the sacred Duskwood Dell and becoming part of the Serpent's Tail River. She loved her life, though she was sad that she could no longer hear the voice of Eldath clearly, and she often awoke in the middle of the night to strange dreams of a ring of fire around a black sun. When a solar eclipse heralded the invasion of the Drow into Arm, her waters turned ice cold in fear, recognizing the sign from her dreams. She fled upstream to the Golden Goddess Falls, to the Green Goddess Falls rather, which contained a portal leading to Cormia, by which she hoped to evacuate as many innocent lives as she could. Thereupon, she came across a great migration of people who sought to flee before the Dark Elves by crossing the mountains into the green fields. Unfortunately, at the mountain pass, as she arrived, they were ambushed by the Drow and cut down, unable to flee for the River Rimil at their backs. Horrified at her involuntary role in the slaughter, Rimil could do little but watch as her waters turned red, and she tried in vain to turn away from the faces of the dead that choked her banks. In terror, she fled into the portal alone, closing it behind her so that the Drow could not follow, and thus she severed her connection to her river home, now full of the lives she could not save. Throughout Cormia, the grieving Rimil wandered in despair, a weeping voice echoing through strange rivers, and a furtive shape glimpsed in flight through the rain. Till one day, while trying to lose herself in the Wyvern water, she heard a bellowing voice from the river bank, raised in a depth of despair that spoke directly to her misery. And there she observed the former Count of Evening Star, the paladin named Redthorn, surrounded by death and bodies, break his sword, tear out his beard and run half mad into the forests, swearing never again to commit an act of violence. Sensing a kindred soul, Rimil followed in secret, whispering words of comfort into his sleeping ears, bringing the man back to sanity and teaching him the art of the Druids. Though she has yet to reveal herself to her ward, she watched over Redthorn as he joined a popular movement known as the Pax D, the Peace of the Gods movement, who seek to leverage the churches to deny services including healing and communion to anyone who engages in warfare. She follows him still, as he, dissatisfied with the methods of the Pax D, now leads a more radical wing known as the Red Order, who focus on direct action to prevent conflict, and who teach self-defense and survival skills to those who are caught up in the middle of the growing war between the Dark Elves and the Empire of Men. While Redthorn For his part, he believes that the soft, whispering voice he hears occasionally from the still waters to be an avatar of Eldath herself. The philosophies of the Eldathin faith speak as follows. Peace cannot be forced to occur, nor can it be taught. It must rise up and overflow from within. Within stillness lies peace. Plant and tend to green life, whenever and wherever your care is required. Seek not to punish, to restrict, or to deny, but rather nurture and give aid to all those who need it. Violence should be avoided, except in defense. One should slay a forest creature only to prevent it from slaying itself or from killing another under its protection. Swear to kill no sentient beings, except in cases of dire need. And finally, share freely the bounties of clear water and all good things that come from running rivers and streams with all living beings in the name of Eldath.